How does biblical stewardship critique prosperity theology? Imagine a world where wealth is seen as a sign of God's favor. Now picture a different view, one rooted in the idea that everything belongs to God. That's what biblical stewardship teaches. It says God owns everything, and we are simply managers of his resources. This idea is a sharp contrast to prosperity theology, which often claims that wealth is a reward for faith and a sign of divine blessing. Biblical stewardship emphasizes that all possessions and money are gifts from God. We are responsible for managing these resources wisely and for his purposes. It reminds us that we do not own what we have. Instead, we are caretakers. Prosperity theology, however, promotes the idea that faith can directly lead to wealth and that material riches are a sign of God's approval. This shifts the focus from responsible management to personal gain. Another key point is accountability. Biblical stewardship teaches that we will give an account to God for how we handle his resources. It's about obedience and aligning our actions with God's will. Prosperity teaching often encourages believers to expect material blessings as proof of their faithfulness, sometimes neglecting the importance of faithful management and sacrificial giving. Stewardship also teaches that wealth should serve a purpose beyond personal comfort. It's meant to help others, support the church, and advance God's kingdom. Prosperity theology can make the Christian life seem like a transaction. What you give or believe should bring you wealth. Biblical stewardship, on the other hand, focuses on faithful service regardless of financial outcome. It also warns believers not to trust in riches as their ultimate security. The Bible reminds us that wealth can disappear quickly and that true security comes from trusting God. Prosperity theology's focus on accumulating wealth can encourage greed and complacency, which are not aligned with biblical teaching. Stewardship encourages contentment and wise use of resources, trusting that God provides what we need. Practically, biblical stewardship means viewing income as a gift from God to be managed responsibly. It involves practicing generosity through tithing and helping those in need. It also means avoiding debt and being prudent with money to honor God's trust. Teaching future generations about responsible financial management is part of biblical stewardship as well. In the end, biblical stewardship critiques prosperity theology by emphasizing God's ownership, our responsibility, and the kingdom's purpose for resources. It calls us to manage what God gives us faithfully and obediently, not to see wealth as a sign of divine favor. This approach guides believers toward balanced, God-honoring financial practices rooted in biblical truth.